6 terrifying, real paranormal encounters that will leave you breathless. You'll see 6 uploads, 6 moments captured on camera, and 1 terrifying question. Are any of them real? What starts as ordinary footage quickly slides into the uncanny. A dog that refuses to descend a staircase, a doorknob that turns by itself, a photograph that shows someone who shouldn't be there. These clips are alleged, unverified, and uploaded by users across TikTok, Reddit, and other social platforms. We'll show the footage, point out the strange details, and weigh the natural explanations alongside the more unsettling possibilities. Viewer discretion is advised. Some scenes can be unnerving. Stay with me and keep your eyes open. The first clip comes from Sydney, uploaded to TikTok by her account. She and her family had checked into an Airbnb early for a wedding weekend. On camera, it begins ordinary. Suitcases, laughter, a golden retriever patting down a short flight of stairs. Then everything tightens. The dog freezes halfway down, ears up, eyes fixed on a dark corner near the underside of the staircase. The camerawoman pans slowly. A beaded curtain trembles, though no one is near it. Balloons tied to a chair flutter as if caught by a sudden gust, though the windows are closed. In another angle, you can see the dog's leash jerk taut, not pushed by a hand, but pulled as if by a force at the other end. This footage is alleged, uploaded by Sydney on TikTok, and the family's reaction is on video. Nervous breaths, hushed whispers, the decision to leave for the wedding early. What's important here is pattern and location. The dog freezes at the same spot twice in separate clips. Animals are often good detectors of something humans can't immediately perceive. That suggests either an environmental cue, a sound under the stairs, a draft through a gap, or, if you prefer the paranormal framing, a persistent presence centered on that space. Sydney's footage later reveals a locked door built into the underside of the stairs. The host later confirms no other guests were staying there. In a follow-up clip, the doorknob to that small door appears to twist on its own in front of the camera. Pause and ask, what are the non-paranormal possibilities? A hidden pet, a trapped toy springing free, a skewed hinge catching and releasing, or a deliberate prank. Leashes can be jerked by slack being pulled off a surface. Curtains can shift when someone walks past behind the camera. Still, the locked cupboard under the stairs raises the stakes. That small space is a classic forbidden locus in haunted house stories. What's inside matters because access is restricted. Sydney's phone later turns up behind that locked door. There is a clip where the phone seems to lift slightly, shift and fall, as if nudged by an invisible hand before being retrieved. Again, the upload is unverified. Could the family have staged it? Possibly. Could a draft, rope, or hidden mechanism explain the phone's motion? Also possible. But there's no sign of an obvious setup in the frames we see. No extra feet, no off-camera crew pulling strings. That ambiguity is what makes this unsettling. Next is Craig's footage, uploaded by Craig, a construction worker documenting a renovation at an empty house. He posts short clips of the job site, power off, empty rooms, ceilings being repaired. The first strange moment is subtle. A long strip of blinds along a window, still one beat, then twitching as if something brushed them from the inside. Later, while going through an old digital camera he found on the property, Craig discovers a photo that stops him cold. A grainy portrait of an elderly woman sitting in a chair, eyes closed, expression neutral. Craig, who speaks to camera in a measured voice, says the homeowner's wife had a grandmother who passed years earlier. When he shows a small, legitimately obtained photograph of that grandmother, a family picture the homeowner provided, the resemblance is uncanny. There is enough similarity that the homeowner later expresses discomfort. This clip is labeled on Craig's post as taken at an allegedly empty house, uploaded by Craig on Instagram/TikTok. And Craig takes the audience through his process, checking for squatters, sweeping the attic, looking behind closets, and finding no one hiding there. That's an important detail. If someone had been living there, there would likely be signs. But empty properties can still harbor surprise items left by earlier occupants, forgotten heirlooms, or staged insertions by previous visitors.
After the photograph footage, Craig posts a separate recording from a basic security camera. The house has no power, twilight outside, and then a sudden loud thump. The microphone picks up a deep, low sound, a growl or some mechanical thud that reverberates through the frame. Craig rewinds and asks, "What was that?" He says he checked the breakers. There's no sign of electrical interference. The most plausible natural explanations here include a leftover photograph from a prior owner, a prankster who snuck onto the property before Craig arrived, or mechanical noises from the building itself, settling timber, an unsecured appliance, or animals nesting in the walls. The growl could be wind resonating through loose piping or a displaced metal gutter. Yet the timing and the personal resonance, a picture resembling a deceased relative, moves this story from mere curiosity into a chillier territory. It is possible to read intention into coincidence. People are pattern-seeking by design. Craig's footage remains unverified and uploaded by Craig, and viewers are left to decide whether the resemblance is coincidence or contact. The third encounter is brief and brutal. A renovation crew in Puerto Rico, uploading short workday clips as they clear out an abandoned house, find a closet full of dolls.
That detail alone is an instant horror shorthand. Dolls in dusty corners, eyes glassy, clothing frayed. One of the crew films the row of dolls. They exchange nervous banter about how creepy it looks. Then, in a split-second motion, a doll's head jerks and its body lunges forward toward the man holding the camera. He shouts and backs away, and his coworker, who had been skeptical the whole time, runs out of the room. The clip is under 2 minutes, but hits like a jump scare repeated with the honesty of handheld footage. Uploaded by a Puerto Rico renovation team, footage is alleged/unverified. The reaction matters here. The immediate flight response of hardened workers suggests they believed something unexpected and threatening had occurred. Natural explanations include an unseen crew member manipulating the doll off-camera, a trapped spring inside an antique doll suddenly releasing, or a gust of wind catching the doll at an odd angle. Dolls are easy to rig. Still, the psychology of dolls plays a role. Even neutral movement in a doll can trigger a primal startle response in humans because the doll imitates a living posture. This clip is short, visceral, and effective. It doesn't try to prove anything beyond the moment of fear. It's uploaded footage. Treat it as such. If that's where you'd like to pause, pause now. But if you want more, keep watching. And if you enjoy digging into strange footage like this, hit subscribe. It helps us keep doing careful breakdowns of clips and debating possible explanations. The fourth piece is an image rather than moving video. A young woman took a selfie in what looks like a typical living room. She uploaded the original to Reddit. Later, commenters zoomed in and found a pale figure on all fours in the background, eyes seemingly focused on the camera. The figure is gaunt, limbs splayed unnaturally, hair hanging. It reads like a classic creepypasta image when blown up. The uploader claims she still lives in the house and that she took the photo with no one else in the room. Reddit users pore over the pixels. Compression artifacts, lighting anomalies, and potential double exposure are floated as technical explanations. Others point to the pose and say it looks staged. This one is labeled as posted to Reddit, alleged/unverified. Photos can lie in ways video rarely does. A single frame can be doctored, cropped, or generated by an AI. At the same time, old cameras have quirks. Long exposure blur, lens flare, and sensor noise can twist a shadow into something humanoid. The troubling detail? The uploader's insistence that she still lives there. That adds a persistent dread element. It's not a one-off scare that's been left behind. It's ongoing for her. Non-paranormal explanations include someone lurking in the house at the time of the photo, a trick of light, or after-the-fact editing. The image remains unresolved, and that unresolved quality is what keeps viewers clicking. Clip 5 is an odd one because it uses a reflection rather than a direct capture. A creator uploads a short TikTok showing her sitting on a couch, joking with her sister, when she glances at the dark glass of a turned-off television. In the reflection, a child-shaped silhouette stands behind her where no child should be. The camera woman points it out in a whisper, eyes wide. She rewinds, and the silhouette appears in the reflection again in a slightly different position in another take of her babysitting later the same week. She says she felt like she was being watched. The first time, she thought it might be the sister standing off to the side. The second time, while watching the TV reflection alone with the child she was babysitting, the shape appeared once more, but this time the sister was out of town. Uploaded by a TikTok creator, footage alleged unverified, this clip pushes the idea that reflections can capture things that aren't visible from the main camera angle. Mirrors and reflective screens are notorious in paranormal lore because they can give the illusion of depth and of things existing just out of frame. Practical alternatives include someone moving in the house who was off camera, a jacket or hanging item forming a silhouette, or even a reflection from a window behind the cameraman that projects light from another room. On the other hand, multiple appearances in different contexts increase the weirdness. If the reflection truly shows different positions at different times with no human presence, that raises questions. But reflections are also prime territory for accidental composition and for editing. Always consider how easy it is to overlay or duplicate reflective artifacts in post-production. Finally, save the most intense for last. The last set of uploads comes from a Pakistani content creator who claims ongoing house-wide poltergeist activity. These posts are numerous, and they show objects shifting across rooms, doors slamming, furniture nudging, cups sliding off counters, and even footage of heavy items appearing to move without anyone touching them. In one clip, a smartphone sitting on a table vibrates, then slides a foot and falls without an obvious slope or surface irregularity. In another, a cupboard opens and utensils spill out as if pushed. The creator films in a mix of handheld and fixed camera shots. Some segments are shaky, some are framed like deliberate sequences meant to maximize the unsettling feel. These uploads, labeled by the creator on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, are highly emotional. Family members shout, plead, and sometimes cry. Viewers are split. Many believe this is one of the clearest displays of a poltergeist-like phenomena on social media. Others argue the clips look edited or manipulated with modern tools. With the rise of AI tools that can simulate motion, voices, and objects, skepticism is warranted.
Poltergeist claims historically fall into two categories: psychokinetic activity supposedly generated around distressed individuals, and operations staged by pranksters or content creators seeking views. The Pakistani creator's footage sits squarely at that crossroads. The pattern of movement, multiple rooms affected almost simultaneously, is consistent with a large-scale mechanical or human intervention, but it could also indicate genuine, uncontrolled disturbances if one accepts the premise. So how do we weigh these 6 encounters? Look for patterns. Animals detect. In Sydney's footage, the dog freezes and jerks the leash. In other viral cases, animals suddenly react to unseen stimuli. Locked or forbidden spaces concentrate activity. The shuttered cupboard under the stairs in Sydney's place becomes a focal point. Technology records things the human eye might not. Cameras, photos, and reflections all catch anomalies that people later obsess over. And finally, emotional responses matter. In every clip, people react viscerally: flight, disbelief, tears. Those reactions are real, even when the content of the footage is contested. Now, let's walk through each clip again with a tighter forensic lens. For Sydney's Airbnb, the strongest non-paranormal explanations are mechanical, loose hinges or a hidden pet, and human, either a prank or an accidental cue like a dropped item off camera. The strongest paranormal signal is the repeated animal behavior and the phone's later movement behind a locked door. For Craig, the photograph's uncanny resemblance to a deceased grandmother could be coincidence, but combined with the audible thump and growl when the house has no power, the case feels eerie. Yet, settling houses and animals can explain low-frequency sounds, and an old camera could carry unknown negatives. The Puerto Rican doll clip is the least mysterious technically. Dolls move, people react, but the authenticity of the fright remains compelling. The Reddit photo carries the highest risk of manipulation. A single still frame can be fabricated or AI generated with relative ease. The TV reflection footage is fascinating because reflections are legitimate sources of visual trickery, and it's also a format easily exploited in edits. The Pakistani creator's poltergeist montage is the most dramatic, but also the most susceptible to coordinated staging or video manipulation. Across all six, technical artifacts are plausible culprits. Compression artifacts, camera sensors, and post-production editing can manufacture anomalies. Environmental contributors like wind, plumbing, and small animals often get overlooked but account for many weird moments on camera. Human action, people off frame, staged scares, or intentional hoaxes cannot be discounted either. At the same time, these clips share emotional truth. Fear is real, confusion is real, and the desire to explain what appears unexplained is universal.
If you're trying to decide which clip is the most convincing as genuine paranormal evidence, consider a few criteria. First, how many independent sources corroborate the event? Is there a single shaky phone clip, or are there fixed security cameras, witness statements, and follow-up audits? Second, do the anomalies show characteristics that resist simple mechanical or physical causes? Third, is the behavior targeted, repeated at the same spot, as with Sydney's dog, or random and easily replicable? By these measures, none of the six passes as ironclad proof. Some are stronger than others. Sydney's repeated indicators and Craig's audio anomaly, paired with the photograph, are both more compelling than a single easily doctored image. The Pakistani footage, while dramatic, would benefit from third-party verification. Remember the obligations we owe to these clips. Label them alleged, treat reactions with empathy, and avoid projecting absolutes. Say that this is chance. Say that it might be prank. Say that editing seems plausible, but also say that we can't simply dismiss every person's fear as attention-seeking. The truth often sits somewhere between gullible belief and hardened dismissal. So, what do you think? Which of these six encounters convinced you the most? Sydney's locked-in phone and dog, Craig's camera, photo, and growl, the doll that lunged, the pale figure in the Reddit photo, the child-shaped silhouette in a TV reflection, or the sweeping poltergeist clips from the Pakistani creator? Leave a single comment below naming the clip and why it convinced you. If you have footage you want us to examine, send it to the email in the description. We'll treat submissions with respect and discretion. And if you like careful breakdowns of strange footage that avoid quick answers, hit that like button and subscribe. To close, I'll leave you with this. Footage can both reveal and deceive. Cameras are impartial witnesses until they aren't. Dogs and dolls, doors and photos, all of them act as thresholds between the ordinary and the inexplicable. Whether these six moments are staged, technical flukes, or genuine breaches in the frontier of what we understand, they all share one power. They make us look closer, question what we see, and wonder about what might be watching back. Watch the clips again if you must. Focus on the edges, the margins where motion begins and ends. And when you turn off the screen, listen. Something as small as a settling house can sound like a presence, and something large like a city at night can suddenly feel intimate and alive. Thanks for watching. Tell us which one left you breathless.